Good morning. I'm meteorologist Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. This is your 11 o'clock update on Sunday. At least it's based on the 11 o'clock update from the National Hurricane Center. We have some good news, well, relatively good news. Hurricane Henri has been downgraded now to a tropical storm. Really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. 60 mile an hour winds to 70 mile or 75 mile per hour winds still are going to do a lot of damage. So you can see from the track, we have a couple of new things on the map this morning. One is a red state of New York. That's in there because GeoCollaborate pulls in the declarations of emergency that any governor issues. So the state of New York has declared a state of emergency for several counties along the coast, and also the state of Connecticut the other day, in advance of the storm, declared a state of emergency. We can see what's going on here. Henri is getting very, very close to the coastline. I'm going to zoom in here so you can take a look and see what's going on. The circle, the yellow circle here, is the indication of tropical storm force winds. This is how far the tropical storm force winds extend from the center of the storm. And so now you can see the middle of Long Island into southeastern Connecticut and all of Rhode Island now, and eastern Massachusetts are experiencing tropical storm force winds. That means winds above 39 miles per hour, and they could gust up to 73 miles per hour, even a little bit higher as heavy rain showers bring down some of those strong gusty winds. Now, we have had some interesting wind reports and wave reports, and I just want to show that to you here. I'm going to turn this on, and now I'm going to turn off the National Hurricane Center official track because what I'm going to turn on are the buoys that are being reported. This is a whole buoy network that NOAA has, and cooperative institutes with universities. They have buoys all throughout the ocean. Not enough, but we do have buoys. You can see some of these readings here that have popped up, and I want to show you what this means. This is station 44017. They have winds of 25.3 knots, gusting to 33 knots here, and some of them report wave heights. So here's one over here reporting wind gusts to 23 knots as the storm moves in. And here's one here reporting wind gusts to 33 knots as well. Some of these buoys earlier were reporting wave heights to 16 feet. And I'm just going to click on a couple of these buoys just so you can see what the wave action is like out here. So it's pretty amazing what some of the buoys are reporting as far as waves, because the wave action is obviously pretty high. That's why we have chance of a peak storm surge of 3 to 5 feet in this area, this orange area here, along Long Island and to the southern portion of the Cape, and also in Rhode Island, there in Narragansett Bay. 3 to 5 foot storm surge is likely during the day today as the storm makes landfall. So I'm going to do one other thing here, and I'm going to turn on the weather radar data so you can see what the radar data looks like. And I'm going to turn off the declaration of states there for state of emergency just for a moment so you can see what's going on. It looks like the center of the storm is coming in close to off the tip of Montauk in Long Island into Rhode Island and southeastern Connecticut. This is a band of very, very heavy rain. There are flash flood warnings in effect for this. As a matter of fact, let me zoom in here out to Montauk, and I want to show you what it looked like. There's a lighthouse here. There's also a camera. We had some video from earlier today. This is about 3 hours ago in Montauk, and this is what it looked like. You can see out on the jetty, the waves are pretty fierce because they're driven by wind, by winds that gusted to 63 miles per hour in Block Island. That was earlier today. Matter of fact, winds there have calmed down a little bit, but the wind is not really going to be the main issue, although now that we have saturated soils, a lot of trees are going to blow down, a lot of branches are going to break, so that's going to bring power lines down. So the wind is a factor, but the fact that it's a tropical storm still means it has a widespread, very strong wind field, and those winds are going to have impacts. I also want to show you the hurricane hunters were out there just before the storm made landfall, and this is what it looked like just about 4 hours ago. This is the radar of the Hurricane Hunter aircraft, the P-3 aircraft, and you can see that circular band around the center of the storm. That's called an eye wall, and now they look out the window. So thank goodness we have hurricane hunters out there from NOAA and the U.S. Air Force that fly into these storms to get us critical data that we need to improve weather prediction. We also have gliders in the ocean, which go up and down and measure ocean salinity and temperatures. We have sail drones out there now, and we have buoys that drop from airplanes and from ships that can give us more observations. You can see what's going on there as far as the storm is concerned. So thank you to NOAA. Now, there are some key points that I want to bring to your attention. Now that the storm is coming on shore, we're going to have widespread power outages likely. As a matter of fact, some of the utility companies predicted upwards of 49% of their utility customers could lose power during the day today. And so it looks like we have the dangerous storm surge that's happening right now. And we also have tropical storm conditions will continue through portions of southern New England through the day today, and in the tropical storm warning area through tonight. Prolific rainfall is possible as well. And let me just show you the second sort of round of key points here. A considerable flash flooding is going to occur. Already in parts of New Jersey, they have 8 inches of rain recorded already because there was some rain that came ahead of the storm. But these heavy rainfall rates are going to result in flash flooding and are doing that right now. That's really hampering crews from going to make rescues, because when the winds are above tropical storm force or at tropical storm force, it's very dangerous for anybody to go out there and attempt any rescues. Also, swells will continue up and down the coastline from this storm, so even tomorrow it's going to be quite rough. So use caution and talk to lifeguards before you go into the water. So I want to take you back here to GeoCollaborate and just show you this is some of the other observations that are happening out there on Montauk. They've been having some very gusty winds. I'm going to back out here just a little bit and show you just the extent to which the impacts of Henri are reaching. So you can see all the way up. Let me take this a little bit full screen here so you can see what's going on. All the way up towards southern Maine, we have wind and rain, obviously down through Massachusetts, through Boston, into Hartford and Connecticut, down through New York City, into northern New Jersey. This is where rain bands have really set up and caused quite a bit of flooding in this area. And look at that. Storms have already reached down into parts of Maryland and Delaware. Not huge impacts, but it just shows you what happens when a tropical storm interacts with an upper level low that's over the Appalachians in western Pennsylvania. It causes areas of convergence and for those storms to form. So that's it for the 11 o'clock update. We'll be watching it through the day, probably another one at 5 o'clock. We can give you some rainfall totals. Once again, the soil is saturated, and because of that saturation, flooding is going to be prevalent. So watch out for flash flood warnings. And if you live in flood-prone areas, if you can, get to a place of safety. It's really important that you stay away from those rising waters. This has been a sensitive information sharing environment Fleet Response Working Group update. I'm meteorologist Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. We'll see you a little bit later, around 5 or 6 o'clock this evening, as we get another update from the Hurricane Center as Tropical Storm Henri continues to impact the Northeast U.S. Thanks for watching.